everyone, I'm Joyce. Having been an IB economics student and now teaching IB economics, I understand how challenging it would be to write an economics essay. So I'm going to use the next 5 minutes to walk you through how to plan a level 7 economics essay. Now let's take this essay as an example. The question is, explain how a removal of flat rate tax could increase the amount of pollution produced by a chemical factory. And this is a 10 marks question. Now, with 10 marks question, we have to analyze, but we don't have to evaluate. So our focus will be on the analysis. So before we go through the structure of the essay, let's first think, what is it asking for? So why don't you take a minute to think about this first? Okay, time's up. Now, this essay is asking for the removal of flat rate tax would increase the amount of pollution, and it's asking for why. So if I have to answer this question in one sentence, I would say something like, the removal of flat rate tax could reduce the cost of production and increase the amount of pollution produced by a chemical factory. That is how I would summarize my answer. So why do we need it? Because then it gives you an idea what to write in your essay. Okay, now we go into the essay structure. So with most economics essay, we start off with an introduction and then the main body, mainly on analysis in this case, and ends with a conclusion. Now, so what do we do with our introduction? Usually we define key terms. So in here, it's very obvious that we'll define flat rate tax. However, this is not the only key term that we need to define. Since the pollution produced by a chemical factory is a case of negative externality of production, so we need to define the term negative externality as well as market failure, because it is a type of market failure. Now, the introduction does not necessarily end there, because to show people that you really understand what the question is asking for, I usually put an ending sentence to directly answer what is being asked in the question. And in here, I would say the removal of flat rate tax could reduce the cost of production and hence increasing the amount of pollution produced by a chemical factory. Then I'll start off with my main body paragraph. Now, here comes the main body of the essay. So what do we write for the main body? In this case, I will divide the main body into 2 paragraphs, meaning body 1 and body 2. So in the main body 1, I will talk about the current situation of the market with an indirect tax being imposed. Now, so what to do? So basically, I would use a negative externality of production diagram to explain the current situation with an indirect tax being imposed in the market. Now, because in here, the pollution produced by a chemical factory is a type of negative externality of production. That's why we use a negative externality of production diagram with a flat rate tax currently being imposed. So most students would find it okay to draw the diagram, but to explain the diagram in words, they find it challenging. So how do we do that? I'm going to walk you through the steps one by one, like doing a math problem, to illustrate how to explain the diagram. So most of the time when we try to explain an externality diagram, we will start off by explaining the social optimal point, which is MSC equals MSB. Now, this is the point where society would like the economy or the market to produce at. However, the private firms would like to optimize their profit gains, and therefore the private market equilibrium does not necessarily occur at the social optimal point. And where is it in this case? This case, it would be at MPC plus tax equals MPB, which is here. Alright? Now, so we have illustrated where the market lies. And the question stated that the pollution produced by a chemical factory, so we need to put the context of a chemical factory in our essay writing. So we need to illustrate what is the private cost. Now, the private cost of production is indeed the cost bears by the chemical factory in this case. And it could be wage, it could be rent, it could be electricity bills. And the external cost would be the pollution produced by the chemical factory. So we have illustrated a case that society would like to produce at point A, but the private market is now producing at point C. So there comes the problem of overproduction at Q star Q1, and with a social welfare loss of area A, B, and C. So any questions there? So we have explained what is going on currently in the market with a flat rate tax being imposed. Next, in the next body, like body 2, we'll talk about how a removal of flat rate tax would increase the amount of pollution by a chemical factory. Now in here, if a flat rate tax is being removed, what we would have observed is that the cost of production actually reduces from MPC plus tax to MPC. Now, the curve shifts from the blue line to the red line. And what happens is that the private market equilibrium has now changed. It changes to this point where MPC equals MPB. Now, the marginal external cost increases from here to the red line here. And the economy's overproduction increases as well to Q star Q2. And the area of that weight loss also increases from area ABC to area AEF. So we have comprehensively explained when the flat rate tax is being removed, why the amount of pollution produced by a chemical factory has increased. So last but not least, there is the conclusion to be composed. So for 10 marks essay, the conclusion is just to restate that what you have talked about previously. For example, in here, I would say, to conclude, a removal of flat rate tax could reduce the cost of production and hence increasing the amount of pollution produced by a chemical factory. So that would be a very, very comprehensive essay plan. And if you still have questions of how to write this piece of essay, I have actually put up a sample essay online at our website, so you can refer to that. Last but not least, our Easter IB Intensive Revision course is coming up. So if you would like to do more exam drills, feel free to join us at our course, and we'll do exam drills like that. And if you want study tools, you can go online and purchase our IB Economics study guides and the IB Economics workbook. So good luck with your exam, and thank you for your time.